So just say
Awesome.
that Maya's just finished his masters at the University of Illinois Champaign. He has been incredibly prolific in terms of posting material from videos and interviews and so on. And I think last year he was somebody whose life was transformed by digital futures, and suddenly, and I can see. I mean, one of the things my role is to pick up on talent, and I can see that Maya has got a big history, got a big future ahead of him. So, Maya, over to you.
Awesome. You just said a line which I wanted to cover in my intro, that like for people who are watching this for the first time and are hearing AI in architecture, like I was in your shoes a year ago, and if you finish this whole lecture series, you are way ahead than like I was last year. So this is an amazing movement and initiative, and I am fortunate and grateful for this opportunity to present. So yeah, I'm a AI technology activist, and I'm currently an applications developer at Perkins and Will, and I create content on engineer architecture. So you can see all this visual in way higher quality if you go to my channel. The image, the GIF in the left is a prompt I gave of New York Central Park, how it will look like in 2050, and this is just a compilation of it. So I would like to say start with what are the trends in software architecture. Um, so software 1.0 is rule-based programming where you design the algorithm, and similar translation in architecture is your parametric design scripts in Grasshopper Dynamo. Software 2.0 is data-driven programming. So you curate the data set and you can integrate those ML algorithms in your design as we saw. And software 3.0 is prompt engineering. And you heard a lot in Theo's presentation, in Matthias' presentation, how they're working with the prompts to curate their data. And GPT-3, clip plus vqgan are some of the ways when curating the design prompt. And I would like to have a modified version of set it by price question, that AI is the answer, but what are the prompts you are giving? I think that would be more important from now. So if someone has asked me question, can AI generate realistic images just from few words? And like that question, if you just reflect upon it, it's very difficult. Like it's next to impossible thing. But in my explorations, you will see how Clip, along with other generative models, are able to generate very realistic images. So hold your seats tight. You're gonna get an amazing ride of Clip generated designs. So as it was mentioned earlier, DALI is text to image AI model. Clip is connecting images with text. So in a simple manner, if you have a text and if you have a list of images, it will able to find the best match for it. Similarly, if you have an image, it will be able to find what is the most similar matching images. And also this transformer, it started with natural language processing, and now it's also being used for vision tasks, and it's able to generate very detailed images. So I would like to share a few examples where with my prompt question and what kind of image it was able to generate. There's like parametric building design, compare consists of three museum design, and I added like prefix of Zaha Hadid, and it has some element of it. And also I wanted to test out like, can it generate construction drawings, or can it generate napkin sketch? So as you can see, it's able to generate like napkin sketch by Frank Gehry. High performance building, what does a novel architecture building in 2050 look like? A happy social urban space where it's able to have like those characteristics in abstract manner, and like one could get a lot of design cues out of it. Also, I really like this of abstract architectural design for museum, conceptual pencil sketch for museum design. And these are uh, way more realistic. And I was awed by initially when this drawings artwork was produced. Then I started, okay, we have the static thing. And I am also in AI art Discord group, which Theo mentions, and they were generating this zoom animation, and I thought, wait, can we translate this image into an animation of walkthrough? And initially when they had like rotation and zoom feature, I experimented with few variables in the generative network, and I was able to produce shear or a panning mode in those model architecture. And just to clarify for those who are hearing model architecture, a lot of terms in software and architecture are similar. So model architecture is basically like the neural network, how it's defined, and that's what is model architecture in case you're not clear. So as you can see in the first GF, it's a walkthrough through a art gallery designed by my prompt. Second is a hyper realistic Unreal Engine brutalist architecture, and I added also pre-prompt of Tadawando, De Corbusier, Louis Kahn. And once you start experimenting with these clip models, you'll start realizing what are some keywords or prompts which produce way more better image. So in the community, AI art community, like it's a lot of people after their experiment, they know that hyper realistic, Unreal Engine rendered are some keywords which are producing way more better output. Also in the right, you can see how a token nightscape with neon lights. Also like neon lights, when I added in few of my exploration, it created a really aesthetic look in the output. All right. So these are uh, many more variations of my prompt for how would an art gallery look like. So as you can see in the top, I added a prompt of cyberpunk city with artwork by Rafik Anadol, and it has very minor aspect of it, but I was impressed. Then this second one is classical architecture with neon lights. So if you look at the ceiling, it has element of that. The third one is about art gallery, modern art gallery in which might have been designed by Frank Gehry. And there is this sculpture which kinds of give away the style. And the one below is I had Zaha Hadid in the prompt instead of Frank Gehry. Uh, in the right, so few of these are panning from right to left. This one is going zoom. So there are a lot of variables you can play with. Then I thought, how would a futuristic museum designed by Zaha Hadid look like? And I gave a pre-prompt of Zaha Hadid and Kazimir Malevich, like whose artwork also is inspired by. And if you look at this animation, like on each instances, you'll find people sculpt like some aspect of Zaha's form are being translated into the output. And below are some variations of clip with other generative network. So this the ones which I showed earlier are clip plus VQGAN, but also you can combine clip with any style GAN, big GAN, or also clip with DALI. And the ones below, I was so surprised when I said like parametric design by Zaha Hadid, and it was able to generate Zaha's faces in the output. That was quite surprising. And even like this one has some character of museum in its. So it was quite a interesting exploration. Few things this is being discussed like in the morning that a very famous AI artist and researcher Daniel Russ has developed a script where earlier we saw clip was able to generate images, but what if clip has been also correlated with the mesh, and so clip to mesh. So here the prompt is make a mesh as monkey mesh, and you can see the transformation, and also like architecturally like mesh sometimes has a more like end use case. So it's another thing. I think with time we'll see more and more explorations with clip on the mesh uh, object type as well. And one thing I realized from my experimentation is like if you just treat the collab script and just play, it is a black box. But once you read research papers, understand what each different part of the code does, it will provide you much more flexibility for experimentation in your design. And like as I said earlier, that I wanted a pan mode and walkthrough mode in my clip navigation. So when I'm experimenting with other parameters, I also played with the shear of the image, and you can see many times the model failed, but it was a part of the learning process where how you figure out different how different parameters can end up lead to different output and also different prompts. So don't be afraid to experiment. Always, there are a lot of good blog posts and YouTube tutorials on how this model works. So uh, Neil, I don't know if we have time for two minutes more.
How long is it? Can you do
Two
it in
minutes?
2 minutes? Yeah. Okay. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So one thing I want to clarify, we see a lot of visual AI related work in architecture, like in terms of style GAN, other GAN based, but there is a whole another spectrum of other like graph based neural network or reinforcement learning, which has some interesting applications in AI research. So I'll just give you a one line summary. So this is quite interesting paper by Housegen where they take input of bubble diagram and produce generative house layout as output. And they just recently released HouseGen++, which has more functionality of interior doors. Another good paper is Sketch to optimization. So it takes sketches, makes a BIM model out of it, and then you can perform multi-objective optimization. Plan to scene. It was just released yesterday where you could take a floor plan and make a 3D model out of it. And also, it's also coupled with images in the floor plans. And a lot of defects in terms of lighting has been eradicated within the model architecture. 3D scene graph is like another very interesting area of research where you can do scanning of the building and it will able to generate BIM model out of it. And with LiDAR being integrated in new iPad, and it's gonna make image to 3D model way more easier as we move on. And this is another interesting paper, Intelligent Home 3D, where just based on this linguistic description of one living room of this texture, it's able to generate 3D house layout out on based on it. So I always wondered, since a lot of these developments are going on, like what are we being trained or be aware of what skills would be needed in future? And I'm still looking for the answer. But one thing, based on my research, it looks like quick 3D modeling and rendering might be less needed skills in future. This is again a controversial thing, but this image is based on last NVIDIA's conference. There's a company who are combining VR plus ML content creation. It showed that an experienced artist uh, with 5+ years of experience took 10 hours to create this 3D model, but with the help of AI, uh, without any 3D modeling experience, it was able to generate in 45 minutes. So that gives some kind of hint that what where should we invest our time and what kind of problem solving should we do. So few things which came on top of my mind was like, as a AI architecture dataset curator, where we do like more feature engineering problem specific data processing customization. AI design technologist, where we integrate different algorithms and models in our workflow. Prompt engineering, as we saw how different prompts were able to produce different graphics. And also like open AI GPT-3, I experimented with the beta version. It has a whole new way we can do find design cues for precedent study or site analysis. It gives a lot of insight, but it depends how you understand the prompt. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. I mean, I now realize I should have left more time for your presentations, and actually maybe I should have ramped things up a bit more. I gave a kind of introductory level thing, but it seems like the level has already been ratcheted up. I think that I would like to thank Theodorus for setting